Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station. I'm your host, Roman, and we have a terrific show planned for you today. First, the forecast from our IntellectualRadio.com weather center. Today, mostly sunny, high 87 degrees. Tonight, rain showers early, becoming intermediate showers overnight, low 70 degrees. Tomorrow, rain showers in the morning with numerous thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. Some could be severe, high 81 degrees. Tomorrow night, scattered showers and thunderstorms, low of 73 degrees. The rest of the week forecast looks like this. Thunderstorms, high 90 degrees. On Wednesday, Thursday, mostly cloudy, high 77 degrees. And on Friday, sunny, high 75 degrees. The Drive at 5 is part of the Monday Night Mogul with Straight No Chaser with Rhea Ray Harris at 6 p.m. Maze Says with Maze Jackson at 8 p.m. And Keeping It Real Estate with Harold Donald at 3 p.m. One Sister to Another with Angela Johnson now has a new date and time, Sundays at 10 a.m. And Monday Night Mingle Radio is back on Monday nights at 7 p.m. The Drive at 5 is also part of the fabulous 5 at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com. Before we start our program, I decided to do an editorial for some understanding, some clarity of what's going on in our communities, including Orlando. First, this is not a swipe against the tragic loss of life that happened over the weekend or the lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans. My radio brother on the microphone, Maze Jackson, says something that was very true. And I decided to share it with my audience and my viewpoint as well. What's in it for the Black people? A couple of weeks ago in Chicago, over the Memorial Day holiday, it was a brawl on North Avenue Beach. It was white teens and adults fighting each other. The next day, Chicago police, the department, to understanding, I have contacted the LGBT community to get some type of clarity of what's going on in Orlando, as well as the Islamic community, both on the show today because of the tragic losses that occurred in Orlando and plus an intense situation. However, my brother on the microphone said something that was very key. Why did Chicago Police Department show the same damn presence on the south and west side when a little Black boy, a teen or adult, is shot and killed? Why we don't have that same type of presence when there's a massacre in our neighborhoods? Does our lives matter to other communities? That's the valid question. We deserve the same type of protection like everyone else. Oh, when Black men did step up to protect the Black community, the government called them a terrorist organization, or what we call a party. When we decided to have our own foods, businesses, and banks, we were called selfish. So I will join my brother on the microphone and others with him for saying, what's in it for the Black people? Because the Black community does not need another white person to dictate what we need to do, because it's already been done. Black man has stepped up. However, stepping on my fellow brothers, going to jail for no apparent reason, wasting their lives 25 to 30 years. Recently, there was a teen that spent 9 years in jail for no apparent reason. And the only thing he gets is, I'm sorry. And finally, I want to tell this joke because this is valid to our Black representatives in Springfield and some elected officials in Chicago. A comedian who I respect by the name of, what you call a Black person acting like they're white? You say what? A damn graham cracker. The Black Caucus is now known to me as you don't have facts, and what is the you just saying something without backing it up. That's all I have to say today. Coming up, my guest will be the facilitator of Family Focus in Lawndale, Cecil Reddick, on the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com. And we're back on the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station. Today, my guest is the program director, coordinator, and facilitator of Mission Men Family Focus in Lawndale. Please give welcome to Cecil Reddick. Welcome to the Drive.
How you doing, Roman?
And introduce your guest right here.
My guest is Phil Beckham. He was one of my participants in my group, and now he's a father, and now he has his own business.
Own business? What business is that, sir?
Well, I'm actually in direct sales where we're teaching youth how to become young businessmen and women. Right now, I have a group going on Mondays at 6:30 to 7 right now that I'm teaching young men and women how to be self-sufficient.
Please give IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station your background.
My background, I grew up in Lawndale, Chicago, Illinois, West Side. I went to Farragut High School, Wright College, Northern Illinois University, and I've taken some other classes. But my background, I've been working with youth all my life, and then I started working with adults. And I've been in many years, but in management, retail management. But at the time, I saw a need more to work with fathers. So I was drawn to working with fathers. And also I have, so my background, I have 25 years in youth.
What is your background, sir?
Well, my background also is in real estate. I have my own van service. Also, I coach high school basketball at Orr High School. I was successful at doing that, Final 14. Went downstate a couple of times also. Like I said, I've been an entrepreneur. I've been working with youth myself for the past couple of years with different youth programs. And again, self-sufficient and entrepreneurs.
Cecil, give us a brief description of your organization and how it assists Black men.
Well, my work is we're a father, and we support fathers to be parents. We have a parenting program to support males in the roles as fathers. And what we do is we provide fathers with information, resources, encouragement, and support. Our program seeks to refine the role of fathers, care management services, early development, and parenting exercises. This will give the men the skills that they don't have. Some of the men have missed skills due to no father, in the presence of their families, no fathers in their lives, no men in their lives. So they miss things, and they only learn what being a man is from the streets, and that's not the correct way. We teach men men are told to be hard and tough, but men have to be nurturing also to their children and their families. They have to be able to understand and be able to communicate. You can't be hard all the time. You got to communicate with your children and have these children love TIME. That's how they spell it. And they want that time. You don't have to buy them anything. And so we give men that skills and teach them that, give them that skill set so they can move forward to be a father.
I say this over again, and basically, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier in a commentary. Again, Chicago had a violent weekend with 33 shootings, 7 killed. Due to the Orlando massacre, the mayor stepped up police presence in the Boys Town area. However, critics are saying the same kind of action is needed on the South and West Side. When it comes to Black safety, it seems there is less concern about our public safety. Do you consider Black men in danger?
Yes, because in regards to what you're saying, I'm active in all the communities, in the involvement in community services in Inglewood also. And I'm seeing just what you said. At some of my grandchildren's school, there was shooting right in front of the school. There was the presence of police at that moment, but the next few days there was nothing. So here it is. They're getting the presence elsewhere where they're shooting at things of nature that's happening. There was a drug bust, a real big one last year, right around the corner from my organization, and yet they were there for a month, and now they're gone, and the things are starting to happen right back. And so now the shootings have started right back up. And so where's the presence? I mean, it can't be sometimes. It has to be all the times.
You want to add to that, sir?
First, and everything that's going on in our community, first of all, it's an economic issue. If you really think about it, the violence, the shooting, of what's going on, these are symptoms of the problem. And the problem is economics. Our youth, we talk about selling drugs. Our youth need to know and find out more opportunities. All the other these programs, they are good. The intellectual programs, the bottom line is economics. And our focus is, with my program and being part of a Mission Men program, we are focused on economics, to teaching our youth that there are other ways to be able to earn income to help better their lives. When a person don't care about anything, that's why you're shooting in front of grandmothers. That's why you're shooting in front of fathers. These young people do not have a vision for the future. Can I just say one thing?
Go ahead.
My son came home. He's 12 years old. He said, "Hey, Dad, why Black folk don't own anything?" Now, let's pause right there. As a 12-year-old child, what does he have to look forward to when he see people that look like him don't have anything? And I travel this United States every weekend. I'm in a different state, different city. And when I look at people that look like you and I, it's the same condition everywhere. So you tell me, even as father, even the Bible says a prudent man, that's somebody thinking ahead, leaves an inheritance for his children's children. 9 times out of 10, everybody here and in our community starts at zero, with nothing. Our fathers didn't have anything, and then so we pass on that poverty consciousness, and that mentality is snowball violence, no hope. And so when they have no hope and don't see, our mission is to give you an opportunity to better themselves and help better their families out of this situation.
Yeah, as a white, the social fabric of inner city life has deteriorated. This breakdown youth crime that characterize many urban neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. It is a proven fact that children who dwell in fathers' households misuse, live in poverty, perform of emotional or behavioral problems, suffer from abuse, and even become involved in a life of crime. For the children who reside in this poverty, having a solid foundation centered on strong moral, ethical, and family values can serve a vital component for promoting positive outcomes among our youth. So what we try to do is we try to promote positive outcomes. We try to, Phil is one of my guys that we talk. I actually mentor Phil also. And Phil is one of the many men that I mentor, a guy that's 67 years old. It sounds strange that I would be mentoring them. But these guys come to me and say they needed some direction because there was no direction. And so therefore a lot of these guys miss going into the neighborhoods. They miss their kids. They're just having kids everywhere. So this crime rate, it just continues on, and we don't have anything. But there needs to be some kind of structure for us in our neighborhoods. I mean, everyone can come in out in over their business, but us. How come we can't prosper? You know, I mean, I go to other neighborhoods and there's 5 restaurants on one block, on one between 100 block. You know, 5 or 6 restaurants, sometimes 10. And how can all of them make money and survive, and we can't do it? So we need to get our own businesses together, get ourselves together, and work together.
Word on the street is there are less opportunities for Black a job in their own neighborhood versus outside, getting less days. Shown more African American men that are hired outside of their community earn less than their counterparts, Black women. Why you think that is the case? They find it very hard to get hired in their own community, but they can get hired in, like, if you're in Inglewood, it's a hard time to get hired in Inglewood, but hired in Melrose Park. They can get hired at North Side or downtown, making less than the minimum wage.
That's a good question.
Well, I can tell you why. First group that comes here in America, they build and create jobs for their. I'm talking about these are things that we are overstepping that we're not even talking about. We have to create our own. When the Latinos come here, they create their own communities. They build their own communities to create jobs for their own. So people on this planet creates job and opportunity for their own except us. We are taught again to get a job and get a job, get a job. Anybody that know anything about economics know a job is not to enrich you. Owning a business would reach time faster. Now
go ahead.
I'm sorry, but you know, these are questions about also, and I thank the opportunity for being here. And again, you know, Mr. Cecil is a mentor of mine. But again, other people, they create their own. We need to create our own. How can I go to majority of our businesses in our community are people that doesn't look like us? They come here to bleed your community and take their money to go rebuild their community. We ask how other groups are rich because it's our money. It's our money. When we get our paycheck from our job, we go to a mall. We spend our money with 95% of our money is spent with other people that's not looking like us, that's creating anything for us. So we empowering other people. So when we start creating jobs and opportunity for our own, the pass down, because our kids, our kids can inherit welfare, Section 8, but that's what we are focusing on in our community. Start talking about building business. We also talk about sales. We walk around with rock around shirts on. Sean John, you are advertising and marketing right now. You are walking billboard. You got Jordan gym shoes on. Invest in ourselves and practice group economics.
Getting back to Chicago crime. Mm-hmm. The city of Chicago pays an average of $5 million price tag on a Black male, Black brutality. Wrongful conviction is the norm for an average Black male in Chicago. For example, there's a recent story that CBS 2 Dave Savini, he's an investigative reporter, reported an off-duty police officer who is white, it's a female, clearly lied about several crimes towards Black men, including a robbery that took place. And the camera showed that the Black men paid for their stuff, but she said on the radio, these Black men, they have a knife. Guns was put up to their heads. They were treated badly. They were incarcerated. Now, knowing that these several Black men, like several crimes towards Black men, including a Black woman who is a preacher, as a men organization such as yourself, how do your organization prepare Black men for this type of behavior in society that could jeopardize their life?
Well, we try. with that, that's a good question also, and I'm glad you said that. We have to try to we try to change their way of thinking, because a lot of times I've experienced that also coming up in my life, where I was accused of things, and we were thrown down, and guns were drawn on me when I was younger, and the first thing we wanted to do, we wanted to act out in revenge, and it started to build a hatred. And so this is continuing to happen to these young men. But then yet we have to get to them and let them know that there is a different way, and we have to battle them the same way that they battled us, as far as with the books and with the law. Now it's a tough one. You understand? It ain't gonna just happen overnight, because this has been happening in their lives all the time. So there has to be some trust, and especially with a lot of things that's coming out now. But to the guys that I deal with, I sit down and I talk with them, and once we start getting together, at first they don't want to hear any of this. But when you sit down and they have a trust in you, and let them know that you're actually fighting for them. Because I also deal with the Safer Foundation, which is the adult transitional centers. So I also, so these guys on the work release programs, and we talk and we come down and we have a discussion as men, as far as some of these violence and why the crime, and I can't get a job, and they constantly pulling guns on me of this nature. Until we sit down and we start educating them on how to do it better, it works. And some of these guys have applied that, and they've come out the victor. Not a whole lot of them, but because it's hard for them to really internalize that after being abused so much, not having. But there have been some that have followed the rules and used the law. And it doesn't happen all the time, and you have to get those guys to trust in you. But it is happening, and through our organization, Family Focus, Lawndale, it is happening. And quite a few guys have understood that, and so it'll work, but it's going to take some work, and it's going to take more men, and that's why we try to get more men involved in our program. And the more men, we're not going to save the world, don't get me wrong, but the more men that get involved, and I pick you up, and each one of these guys, I give them someone to be a sponsor with and stay in contact with. So if this guy's not doing something right, he's having a hard time to have someone to call on. You can't call on Ray or little Mark down the street, because Mark their mind is, let's go do this. You got to have someone that's thinking straight and correct. And that's what we do in Family Focus, to give them the correct way of thinking.
Let me ask you a question, a follow-up to this.
Okay, no problem.
You're the man on the street. You hear things, you see things. For a typical black male who's going to school, who's doing the things as an alma mater or high school, who stayed out of trouble, but still got pulled over by the police. That story, every black man can identify. It puzzles me that when someone is trying to do good, bad things like this that can easily transition them to do bad. Why?
Well, first of all, bad things happen to good people. I can definitely identify with that story. I've been pulled over plenty of times. Even walking down the street, police just pull me over. And it's in the wintertime, pour juice down my pants, put a gun to my head. So I was able to experience that. But one thing, let's ask this question now. Who does a bully that's scared, that's weak? And so when you look at our kind, usually the police are not anybody that look like us. So one thing they also know is, when you have anything, you have no way of punishing us. And 9 times out of 10, they even know 99.9% of them don't even have the economics to even afford a lawyer. So you have to take that abuse from police and media, when the police can kill one of us and get away with it. So that's opening the doors right now, really, for a soft Holocaust. If you really think about it, I'm a white man, shoot down a black boy that's running away from you, so your life is not in jeopardy. I've got my back to you. You got to earn your paycheck. That's how it was back in the day. You had to earn your paycheck. So your life is in jeopardy. You shoot and kill me, and you walk away. What about my life? I understand that. What about my life? But it goes all the way back again to economics. We have no way of punishing these people, and we have no way of building our own economy in our communities. So that's why they treat us the way they treat us.
But let me stop you there. each and every election year, like I said in my commentary, have these politicians. They say they're fighting for. I'm titling them the Graham Cracker Caucus. The reason why is because they can eat collard greens and egg bones when it's election time, but as soon as they behind closed doors, they eat escargot, caviar, and shrimp. Not the little shrimps that we get at Jewel's, the big hunk of shrimp like that. Mm. What I'm saying is, are our politicians to blame? You're saying laws. It goes back to what I said. The laws for the common black man. By saying that, I'm going to ask this question. There has been silence on due to society laws, like what I just said. Mm-hmm. Is there a way that a black man's voice could be heard in today's society instead of being silenced? I'm going to you, then to you.
Oh, you got to think the dominant white society controls the majority of all the media. They control what you see, what you think, and what you hear. So they're able to control you. You ask about politics, they've been sold us out a long time ago. Because when guys such as myself step up and start teaching, want to teach our kids, show them how to develop and be self-sufficient, how to sell and to their own people, build businesses so they can build their own communities, they don't even want to hear about it. They've been sold you out. And another thing, this been going on since the founding of this country. If you read your Constitution, it tells you you are 3/5 of a human being. That has never been changed or corrected. And our politicians have get in this office and been broke the oath. They were sworn to protect the people that put them in office, right? So they get in office and they talk about everybody except us, the conditions of our people, and not trying to be religious or anything, but in the same token, when I go to a lot of these organizations, religious and political, and I sit there, it almost kind of, I want to throw up, because these are not the issues. It's economics. It's economics. Can anybody name me one black community, stores, the banks, the stores that we create in our own economic wealth by our own kind? I told you, I travel the United States almost every week. I'm in a different city. I haven't seen it yet. But I can go right over here to Melrose Park. Let's pick it back up. As soon as you cross Lake Street, everything over there owned by Latinos. And I'm not here to say that I hate anybody. I'm not preaching hate. But what I'm saying is the things that we are supposed ourselves that we talk about, we are not doing it. Back to economics. These politicians are catering to the people that got the money. Politics is economics. It's about money. If it wasn't about money, why would they he spent $23 million on a campaign? If it wasn't about, see, to us, little people down here, understand, I'm gonna take it off. Our vote been knowing go through integration a long time ago. When we were second class citizens, white won. Latinos right now outnumber us 3 to 5 to 1. And the Asians and everybody else about to overtake us right now. So we didn't get none of this black folk then when we were the second quote unquote minority, which I call us. We definitely not going to get anything while we third and fourth class citizens. And we can't deny it, because when we go through our communities, North Lawndale, West Inglewood, West Garfield, right now, when you think about the poverty rate of our men is over 50%. And it's a direct correlation between businesses.
Your response?
I think that we need to get together, because one of the things that happens is the voice is not being heard. Because I talk to a lot of younger people, and they say that my vote don't count. They're going any ways of that. All this is what they're saying. They continue to say that, and I don't know if they're getting the few dollars on the table. But if I can't believe that if there's 500 and that 500 vote, guy can still stay. There's no way. Excuse and don't go vote, then we lose our. So as we continue to lose our voice, because our thinking is not right. We have to change our way of thinking. The thinking in 1950, the thinking needs to come up to what it is now. There's people people moving forward, but we have to. Without it, I do make a difference in my life. I can change my life, and it does. And no one can really dictate to me how my life can go. Even when they do me wrong, they still can't dictate to me. As a man, I'm gonna stand up and be the man. Now they ain't gonna always go my way, and yeah, I'm gonna get pushed around, and I'm gonna get arrested, but I'm still gonna be that man. Just like James Brown said, I may be incarcerated, but I am somebody. This doesn't take away my dignity. I'm not gonna lose that. Now I can swallow the pride because that's what the only poison you can swallow and get back up and live. I'll swallow the pride because I need to move forward as a man. And so we need to get together as men. And so that's why we want to get the men. And that's why, along with the Safer Foundation teaming with us, we all get together and we try to educate these men, find them jobs, and find them things that they can move forward. Just working with my agency that we can try to that we do those things. So we find these jobs that's friendly to the returning citizens, and so they can move forward in their lives without the minimum wage. Because with the minimum wage, there's nothing you can do. You know, I mean, they $900, and I'm getting minimum wage, and then I made that money. But then child support gonna take my money. One way or the other, they keep trying to rob us of our dignity forward and get our voice, and we have to stand together as men.
I'm glad you mentioned that point of child support, but I really glad you mentioned that, because I have a question regarding that. Some black men feel like black women is against them instead of supporting them. Some black men even feel black women show support to other male ethnicities than their own due to lying about harassment, abuse, stalking, and restraining orders. In essence, what I'm saying is, you have a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
She's extra, so to speak. And I know I'm going to get in trouble for the women on intellectual radio, but it needs to be said. Some of these guys don't have a record, but it's easy for a black man to get a record. They get locked up. Someone can say, I can make a phone call. He's harassing me. They're going to lock him up. You already have a record. Now, why is this going on, and why our laws is constantly allowing women to mess up black men's lives? Go ahead on it.
Well, first of all, I feel like, hey, you man undo to do. You know, you man enough to get your child.
That child. There is a study that's out currently that in the state of Illinois, you only have 1 year to prove that that child is not yours.
Oh.
The child turns 2, you're stuck for 8. And some of the men are finding out their DNA-wise, that's not their child, but they're still getting locked up in Cook County Jail. There is a backlog that is verified by Tom Dart, a backlog of DNA testing that proves they're not the father, and they have to release. Only thing the state can say, I'm sorry, but that's the law.
Well, again, it goes all the way back to, economics. You're talking about the law. Money, what causes laws and what changes laws. Me personally, again, you're man enough to be with this woman, you need to take care of your child. But to piggyback off what you said, now that's totally unfair. But when you talk about the law, okay, politicians, who is this law mostly hurting? People that look like you and I, correct? Then, so why our communities, which is laws that's hurting mostly our men in communities, you and I, why are they not really publicizing it? Why are they not out in the streets? Because a lot of them, you don't even see them until it's time to vote. Or if you happen to bump into them at a grocery store or restaurant, they wouldn't even speak to you. You kind of feel out of it. I say a lot of hypocrites. Like I said, I've been lost faith in black politicians, but in the same token, but me personally, I feel, real messed up, that you prove that this child is not yours, because as a man, you do have an emotional high, especially if this is your first child or anything, to being able to get love. You do have that high, and you want to believe this woman. But mama said mama's babies, daddy's babies, right? So I guess we need to go ahead and, men, and we find out, hey, I'm pregnant, we need to go ahead and do it. But in the same token, man.
But some men don't know. It's also Illinois state law.
That's what I'm saying.
Illinois state law that says that a lot of men don't know, and that's why women lock them out of the delivery. You have 24 hours to request a free DNA test. And if you don't request that DNA test within 24 hours.
But how many men? Well, I could tell you, like with my first child and with my baby girl right now, that I was real excited when she told me I was pregnant. I was excited about having a child. And you don't want, in the time of this lady giving birth to a child, want to bring it up, I don't know if this is my baby, I want a DNA test. Because you have an emotional high that you actually want to believe that you created this life. That's my personal opinion about it.
Man, I was a young father, and when I found out she was pregnant, my baby, I was in shock because I wasn't trying to have a kid. So at this time, so now so that's what I'm talking about, educating fathers. And what we do now is, really, I'm not trying to say highly religious, like you say, get that, but we really not supposed to be having sex till you're married. Realistically, that's that's.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is
punishment.
No, I'm saying is, but it happens. So give them condoms. When you want to protect yourself, you're a young lady, babies, and then you protect, not yours. But now, at the same time, now if someone locks me out of the room, and I've been with her all this time, I want to know, is that mine? Because why are you locking me out? That's what we got to start thinking. But most of the time these guys are just doing the do and they keep it going. That's why you have one guy. Listen, I was on Ilana Fix My Life. I was one of the support cast to come on the show, and the guy Jay had 34 kids. 34 kids by 17 different women. And then the other guy, I can't think of his name, but he had 17 kids by 11 different women. Come on now. I mean, listen, at the same time, we just going around doing what we need to do. We need to, there's become a time I need to be a man. And do I want kids to be, do I want my other kids to be having sex with each other? So now I need to start being a man also. Now you just can't put me in. Look, the women are going to blame these men because they're hurt, and they may not be hurt by you per se, but they probably hurt by one or two fathers before. And so now you come along, if they got three different daddies, baby's daddies, that they say, and then you come along, you're the good guy. You're the nice guy. So you catch it because you're trying to be good.
There are so many follow-up questions. Because of time's sake, I'm not even going to go there. But yeah. I'm going to say this. Society view black men as thugs, deadbeats, disrespectful towards black women, and abusive. However, according to the CDC recent study, 78.2% of black men have a relationship with their children higher than any other race. Why mainstream media are not broadcasting this fact that black men are good fathers to their children?
And that's right. And a lot of the guys are good fathers. They just don't have the resources to be the better father. And so they try to act out and try to get these things. And sometimes they dig a deeper hole. I know a lot of guys, different other races, that are really abusive to these women. And like you said, the facts are not on the table with that. And I've seen it because I work with a DV. And so I'm understanding of that it's happening, and yet we're always listen, other nationalities come into this country and look at us like we're trash. I had them come over and walk up to me like I was nothing. And I was, we just talking, but this is what the world is teaching them. And so as this is what we look at, and then we start accepting and we start acting out what they, you understand? And that's what I demand to be. I want to be respected as a man. I'm going to be a man, and I'm going to stand on what I need to do.
Quickly, your response.
What do you hear on the radio majority of the time? I know I can't call these radio stations names, but here in Chicago,
Well, you can. It's intellectual.
Okay, well, let's listen to WGCI at 92.3. They play the same bull crap all day, every day. I had a guy. He's a positive entertainer, positive rapper, and he told me he talked to one of those DJs up there at one of these radio stations, and he said, "Man, why do y'all don't play positive music? Man, I got some positive music. Won't y'all play? I'm willing to pay y'all." And the man said, "Man, I need my paycheck." So what I'm saying is, we have sold out. Just imagine if you keep listening to you are this, you are that, you are this, I kill you. We the only race of people that brag about mistreating our women. When I look on BET, that's what I see, a black dude. I don't see a white dude. Talk about the women killing, robbing, killing, and stealing from one another. We the only race of people that actually publicize that. But again, the dominant white society owns the media, so they control what you see, what you think, and how you act. But for us that's conscious enough that know that, we need to start building. If it just start off with a simple thing is hello, but we done got to the point to we don't even want to speak to each other.
How they can get in contact with you and your organization?
You can reach me at Family Focus Lawndale at 773-722-5057, and we also have a social media website that you can also look us up on, the Family Focus Lawndale. And that website, you can find all of our different programs. We have a lot of different programs. We even work with the teen moms, young teen moms, their grandparents. We have a doula program, which is like a midwife for girls with teen pregnancy. They don't have anyone in their life. So we have a young lady that goes around making sure that they get their medication, that they and they even go to the hospital with them and be there when they birth. So they're called in the middle of the night and they're there. So we offer a lot of programs to these individuals in the communities, and we just trying to make them get aware. We're trying to do prevention and just move forward to let them know that someone is there to help them. And that's what they need to know. And so we bring them in. We even have food pantries. So there's a lot of different programs that we have there.
Don't be a stranger to the Drive at 5. Nice discussion, gentlemen. Wish we had more time.
Thank you.
That's gonna, when we come back, I was about to close out. Look at that. It was so good. When we come back on the Drive at 5 on the IntellectualRadio.com, we have the one and only Tremaine Murrill. We'll talk about team defensive driving only on IntellectualRadio.com, the Drive at 5. We're back on the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station. My next guest has designed a program to help educate teen driving. Please give a Drive at 5 welcome to farmers agent Tremaine Murrill. I got the name correct. Did I get it correct?
Close enough.
Tremaine. Tremaine? Did I say Tremaine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, Tremaine. Well, tomato. Welcome to the Drive at 5. Please give IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station your background.
Well, I started out my career in claims. So I worked for the National Catastrophe Team for Allstate right out of college. I went to Illinois Wesleyan University. So I traveled all over the country working catastrophe claims. I did that for about 10 years and decided, my husband and I, that we wanted to have a family. And so I couldn't do all of that traveling anymore. About 2 years of a hiatus and being a stay-at-home mom, I felt the need to get back into the workforce, and the opportunity with Farmers Insurance came about. And so I took on the opportunity, and I've been an agent for 5 years now.
Please describe this concept. What teen defensive driving course is to our listening audience?
Well, basically, I'm just piggybacking on a course that's already is active and in place already.
Okay.
So, how it came about, I was at a career day at a high school in my area, and I was speaking to the teens about insurance and what it means and how to drive in a way that can prevent accidents so that they can keep their parents' premiums lower. And so we were just discussing that and discussing what I do. Basically, we just talked about my background and exactly what I do currently now as an insurance agent. And it just came upon me, something put it on my spirit to help the youth understand what it's like when they're out on the road and what to do if they encounter someone cutting them off or they get a blowout. And I contacted the Joliet with the Autobahn Country Club in Joliet, and they graciously are allowing us to participate in a current active program that they have.
What is the current?
So it's just basically a teen defensive driving course. Is at the Autobahn Country Club in Joliet, and it's not a simulator, so you don't get behind a simulator and avoid a rabbit in the street. You are actually in a vehicle. These teens are going to actually be in a vehicle. They're going to be taught by a professional on what to do to, like I said, avoid if there's some black ice on the road. What do you do? Try to prevent accidents. Just teach them how to defensively drive, because it's one thing to learn how to drive in driver's ed. It's something else to actually be out on the road and someone cuts you off, or you hit a patch of black ice. What do you do? Or in your vehicle when you're pressing on the brake and your anti-like brake system goes into play, not to be fearful of that and understanding how to control your vehicle. So that's basically what this program is about, is to help the teens actually be able to drive defensively when they're on the road and not have that fear of not knowing what to do.
According to your program, it states drivers under the age of 21 years are involved in 3 times more crashes than any other drivers 21 years or older. How?
Absolutely. So across the United States, they're the cause of 30% of the accidents, which is over $26 billion in damages that they cause teen drivers. And it's the number one, cause of death for teens is accidents, whether they're the driver or the passenger. So it's important for us to have these programs in place to teach these teens not only, the appropriate place to drive fast, which is not on a residential street or it's not in your backyard. It's typically, on a racetrack. If you want to drive fast, go get the professional in a professional vehicle and a professional training. So they're also going to be able to see a race car and all of the equipment that's in that car that shows them that, if this car turns over, well, there's protective gear in here to help that driver remain safe. That's not in a traditional vehicle. So those things are going to be discussed and gone over while we're, at the program. And that's basically what we're trying to help teens understand. It's okay to want to drive fast and get that rush, but there are appropriate places for.
I was trying to dig, but I wanted to ask this question. What's the number of African American teens involved in accidents?
Now that I do not know. I don't have specific demographic information by race.
Mm-hmm.
I just do know that teens in general, the number one cause of death is car accidents. And so, but I can find that out and come back later and talk about it if you're.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the one-day session is very intense, according to your program there. Has Illinois, the rules of the road changed over the years for the course to have that much of an intense program?
Well, this is not based upon the Illinois rules of the road. That's going to be in a typical driver's ed program. This is seriously just typically about how to maneuver in your vehicle, like real driving when you're out on the road, and how and so benefit adults too.
Not to interrupt, but you're saying this is not like driver's ed. It's not like a driver's ed course. It's just anybody can come, but preferably you want to teach teens, but anyone can join this program, correct?
Absolutely. So anyone with a driver's license, my particular program is for teens. It's for youthful drivers. So this is for teens because that's what my passion is.
Okay, no problem.
But at the Autobahn Country Club, anyone can take this course. This particular course is teen defensive driving, but they also have it where they teach, law enforcement, fleet drivers, all of that, how to defensively drive on the road. So it's not just specifically just for teen drivers that they have programs for, but they do have a program that's specifically for teens, which is they're graciously allowing me to host a session on June 29th. And it's a consolidated session. It's not the intensive one-day program. It will be a consolidated session, which is why it's so affordable. But at the same time, you're going to get a lot of information. The teens are going to be able to get into the vehicles and drive the vehicles and incur that particular situation that we're trying to teach them, which is, accident avoidance.
Now, this is the part you hate.
Okay.
But I was told to ask it. How much is this course going to cost the teen?
Well, the course is $15 per teen. You can be permitted, so you can have a permit or recently licensed. So 1 or 2 years having your license, 3 years of having your license, you can participate. And the class is $15. Now, the actual course itself is typically, several $100s. But like I said, I've worked with them and we've come up with a program so that we can graciously offer this program for $15 for each teen who signs up.
Is there like a timeline?
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be Monday, June 27th will be the deadline for people to sign up, and they can go to teendefensivedriving.eventbrite.com, and that will give them access to the tickets.
So anything in regards to driving that you want your teen to know, they can learn from this class, right?
Absolutely. They can learn from this course in terms of defensively driving.
Right.
But in terms of learning, so they already need to know that.
Well, I was getting to that because right now, you can have the rules to the road type of method, and you can have your training, but this one also prepares you for the expressways, how to avoid like 18-wheeler, because some people get kind of like nervous or intimidated while driving, and they're looking at their vehicle, see this 18-wheeler, they don't know what to do, they get kind of nervous and they kind of swerve, and that can cause a chain reaction, right?
Absolutely. So it's going to get them comfortable behind the wheel, what to do when those type of situations occur, where they're feeling uncomfortable, where the car starts to spin out. What do you do when the car starts to skid? What do you do when someone runs out in front of you? You have to brake. What do you do? How do you handle your vehicle? And that's pretty much what they're going to teach them.
Okay, so how can somebody get in contact with you?
Well, I have a website. It's www.merrillagency.com, and that's MERRILL agency.com. And also I can be reached at 815-230-1914. That's my office number, or directly on my cell at 708-646-3523.
See, it wasn't that bad.
No, it was awesome. Thank you.
No problem. You're more than welcome to come back.
Thank you so much, and I'll get that data for you.
Oh, not a problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Don't be a stranger. We'll glad to have you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the drive. You stay right there. Thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer, Rhea Ray Harris, who is up next with Straight No Chasers at 6 o'clock. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to get your child or children in at a decent time before curfew. It's around 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? A message for IntellectualRadio.com, the drive at 5. Have a good week, everyone.